What's up, guys? It's Rico here, CEO of SourceFind Asia, host of the Made in China podcast, and the host of the SourceFind Asia YouTube channel, also the host of SFA Digital Summit. This is day two. Day two is all about the nitty gritty of manufacturing, production management, quality control, and a little bit of shipping as well. So we're going to be covering the manufacturing pitfalls. That's Luke Francis. Mike and myself are going to be talking about the actual production management. We have Andy Church talking about quality control. We have Design for Manufacturing by Renaud Angeron. So it's going to be an intensive day. Really good content that we have for you. And just need to get some coffee to get my day started, you know?
Inspection checklist, testing plan, approved samples and boundary samples, all of these are extremely helpful. So first thing is the golden sample. You might have heard about that. And basically it's the final prototype, and if possible also made out of tooling. If some tooling like casting or injection molding tooling is required, for example, right? Because this is really what you want for production, and they have to confirm that production is going to look like that with some variation, but that's the aim, that's the target, right? And that's for the touch and feel. And you have to have at least one. Manufacturers get to have at least one. The people who are going to come for the inspections get to have at least one. Okay, and make sure you mark it the right way so they don't swap it to another one that's not as nice. Right now, it's not sufficient. You also need to work on some kind of specification sheet, and if possible, to clarify a part of the bill of material. Okay, so if you say, well, I approved this sample, okay, but then there's some variation in production. There's going to be some variation. There's always variation in any manufacturing process. So what's the tolerance? How to measure it? You know, if you just have a sample, then you're stuck because you don't know. It doesn't come with a tolerance, right? So So you break down basically a list of specific requirements about the outer packaging, the inner packaging, the labeling, the appearance of the product, how it's supposed to be used and behave, and what you really don't want, and some examples of defects. All of this is really very helpful, actually, also for the manufacturer to guide them. Now you have to make it as visual as possible, maybe even translate it into Chinese if it's for Chinese manufacturing, and get the confirmation from the supplier. Okay, if they say, well, this one, wow, we're not sure we can hold that tolerance, or we're not sure, it can be that nice without any blemishes or scratches. Well, you learn something, and either you keep working with that manufacturer, you try to find ways to make it work together, or it's not the right manufacturer, right? Same thing also for the limits and the proportions of defects, the AQA limits, and bill of material, because if you buy a product and this got to be, TPE plastic, and then in production they use PVC, well, they played with you, and they bought cheaper material, right? So how can you complain about that if you have not actually documented it and gotten their confirmation of that? Okay. Giving a list of potential defects is always a good thing. So at the top, what I show is just, some people just make a table of, bunch of defects that we can expect, and is it critical, major, minor, right? That's good. That's a good start, right? If you want to go all the way into the details, you can do like the one at the bottom, the wire end overlaps itself. Okay, that's something on PCBA, the way the components are mounted on a PCBA. And if it wraps for that angle, then it's maybe it's critical. To that angle is major, that angle is minor, right? So with sketches or photos and things like that, that's the best maybe for the three defects that you are most afraid of. Maybe that is really helpful, okay? Because you define that first, and then there's no discussion when things come up and an inspector says, oh, we found this, or you get some pre-production samples and you say, well, this is really not what I want, guys. And if it was defined up front, then there's no surprise. Okay. Some other examples, it's nice to give them actually some of these defective samples and make it very, very clear, so they actually see it on samples. Okay, and boundary samples to really show the limit between what is acceptable and not acceptable is also very, very helpful. Okay, so in this example, like this is okay, this is sort of at the limit, still acceptable, and this one is at the limit but not okay, right? So kind of this is the limit of what we want, and you might want that in different sets of samples like this for different colors. Because, for example, if it's a metal product that gets plated, if it's black, you're gonna see some of the blemishes. But if it's rose gold, you're gonna see much more of the same blemishes. So the tolerance actually, because the visual effect is different, right? So when you go start to go into the details and you really want to clarify your standard, that's extremely helpful. Okay, so all of this is really to build a quality standard, because without a quality standard, you are not ready for manufacturing your product. Okay, because even the manufacturer doesn't even know what you want.